Formula One doesn't care about fairness, and dreams don't guarantee success. This is the brutal truth about motorsport. You could be one of the most gifted drivers ever, yet bad timing and unfortunate circumstances can single-handedly rob you of the opportunity to win a title. And no driver embodies this painful truth right now better than Charles Leclerc. During pre-season photo shoots, the drivers were asked to jot down what their dreams were ahead of the season, with one of those drivers being Charles. And one of the prompts was, "This year I will be," and Leclerc says, "a world champion, full stop." No joking, pure conviction. Now fast forward to the mid-season, and it looks like we just watched a man skip through the 5 stages of grief, straight to acceptance. We've seen this cruel film before: Jean Alesi, Robert Kubica, Ronnie Peterson, Jackie Ickx, and perhaps the greatest to never do it, Sir Stirling Moss. Legends who should have been crowned but weren't. And then there's Gilles Villeneuve, a name whispered with reverence. A driver who lived at the limit, whose career ended before destiny could be fulfilled. Enzo Ferrari himself adored Gilles for one reason. He drove with everything he had, always. He wasn't perfect, but he was authentic, fearless and electric. And in so many ways, Charles Leclerc feels like his spiritual successor. Lightning fast, heart on his sleeve, and has a bond with Ferrari that goes beyond the car. Like Gilles, he doesn't just drive for points, he drives for something deeper. Heritage, pride, redemption. To the Tifosi, Leclerc isn't just another driver, he's the driver. The man meant to bring Ferrari back to glory days, and yet, year after year, we're left asking when. The House of Chaos, Ferrari, the most famous name in motorsport, the scarlet red, the screaming Tifosi, the legacy of champions, it's mythical. And yet, for almost 2 decades, that myth has morphed into something closer to a running joke. The last driver's title came with Kimi Räikkönen in 2007, the last constructors in 2008. Since then, a parade of chaos, leadership changes like musical chairs, technical restructures every other season, and the pit wall strategy calls absolute works of art, if the art is comedy. Let's not sugarcoat it. Ferrari today is a dynasty at war with itself, and right in the middle of this storm sits one of the most talented drivers of his generation. So, what does generational talent even mean? When we talk about generational talents in Formula One, we usually point to the obvious examples: Michael Schumacher, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen. Drivers who didn't just win, but defined eras. They didn't knock on the door of greatness. They kicked it down and rewrote the record books. But what about the others? The drivers with the same raw speed, the same otherworldly ability, but none of the luck or machinery. Do they still count? Or do they just become footnotes in the what could have been section of history? Leclerc is the poster child of this tragic category. His speed is unquestionable, his racecraft sublime. And yet, the trophy cabinet tells a different story. That gap between talent and achievement. It's not on him, it's on Ferrari. Now, before we jump into this next bit, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think Ferrari will ever turn it around with Leclerc? Or is it time for him to take his talents elsewhere and quit wasting his prime? Drop your answer in the comments and don't forget to subscribe, because we've got more epic F1 deep dives coming your way every single week. The cruel reality of F1. In Formula One, the car matters, full stop. You could be an alien behind the wheel, but if the machinery underneath you isn't up to it, forget it. Titles aren't won on sheer willpower. They're won on reliability, development, and ruthless execution. And year after year, Ferrari has failed to provide Charles with what he needs. Ever since the Schumacher era ended, Ferrari has been chasing ghosts. A brief flicker of hope came in 2017 and 2018 when Sebastian Vettel mounted title challenges, but they ultimately fell short. And since then, a relentless cycle of hype followed by heartbreak. Last season was supposed to be the turning point. Ferrari had shown flashes of brilliance, looked sharp in testing, upgrades were promised, hope was alive, but what did we get? The same cocktail of chaos, reliability issues, botched pit calls, and development stalls. Silverstone? A masterclass in how to throw away a result. Ferrari left Leclerc out on old hard tyres under a safety car, while his rivals pitted for fresh rubber. You could hear jaws hitting floors in living rooms worldwide. And Monaco 2022 was another tactical clown show, costing him a likely win.
Stay out, stay out, stay out.
Time and again, Leclerc delivered everything he could, only for the team to sabotage their own chances. By the end of the season, despite heroics, wins in Qatar and Monza, drives that reminded us of his genius, the damage was done. Ferrari finished miles behind McLaren and Red Bull, with all that optimism burned to ash. If you want the ultimate example of Ferrari wasting Leclerc's prime, look no further than 2022. The season started like a fairy tale. Leclerc took victory in Bahrain after an epic duel with Verstappen. He followed it up with wins in Australia and Austria, securing his first career Grand Slam. It felt like the dawn of a new era, a title fight for the ages. And then the implosion. Engine failures in Spain and Baku wiped out crucial points. Grid penalties followed because of power unit changes, and then came the strategy calls. Utter madness. The Monaco pit call was a comedy of errors. Hungary, hard tyres on a cool track. São Paulo, more inexplicable decisions. Ferrari didn't just lose. They handed the championship to Red Bull on a silver platter. And let's not forget the image burned into every fan's memory. Mattia Binotto, wagging his finger at Leclerc like a schoolteacher, as if Charles had done something wrong. Leclerc himself wasn't perfect. His crash in France was costly. But the bulk of the blame lies with Ferrari. They had the car to challenge for the title, and they threw it away. If there was ever a year to make good on all that potential, that was it. And they blew it. The early days, a glimpse of greatness. When Leclerc burst into Formula One in 2018 with Sauber, the hype was immediate. The kid was doing things in a midfield car that seemed unreal. Ferrari couldn't ignore it. By 2019, he was wearing red. And what a debut season it was. He stared down Sebastian Vettel, a four-time world champion, and beat him. Bahrain should have been a win, but for an engine failure. Spa and Monza. Back-to-back victories that cemented his status as Ferrari's future. Then came 2020, the darkest year for Ferrari in decades. The car was a dog, slow on straights, unstable in corners, yet Leclerc dragged it to results it had no business achieving. P2 in Austria, heroics at Silverstone, tyre management masterclasses in Portimao. If there were any doubts about his calibre, that season erased them. He wasn't just good, he was elite. For Leclerc, Ferrari isn't just an employer, it's a calling. He grew up dreaming of driving for the Scuderia. He races for more than himself, for his late father, who sacrificed everything for his career. For his godfather, Jules Bianchi, whose own F1 journey ended tragically. And for his close friend, Antoine Hubert, who died in Spa just a day before Leclerc's first win. This isn't just a job for him, it's family, it's heritage. But that bond? It's a double-edged sword. It ties him to Ferrari in ways that go beyond logic. And while that loyalty is admirable, it might be costing him everything. Every year he stays, the window narrows. Drivers can peak into their early 30s these days, but nothing is guaranteed. And for every season spent waiting on Ferrari to get it right, his prime years tick away. So, what comes next? Stay and keep believing, or walk away, shatter the dream, and try to find glory elsewhere? And if it's the latter, where does he even go? Mercedes seem to have Russell and Antonelli tied down. McLaren has Norris and Piastri locked in. Red Bull, maybe, but would they ever let Max Verstappen's throne be threatened? Aston Martin, possible, but who knows how long their project will take to deliver, so he'll likely stay. Because this is Ferrari. Because hope is a hell of a drug. But hope doesn't win championships. Competence does, and Ferrari hasn't shown enough of it. Charles Leclerc is a driver who should already be world champion. Now he risks becoming another cautionary tale. Loyalty is noble. But in Formula One, loyalty doesn't guarantee anything, except maybe heartbreak. Sticking with Ferrari means continuing to put his faith in a system that has repeatedly let him down. And the longer he waits, the fewer the doors that will remain open. If the Scuderia doesn't get its act together, the question won't be whether Leclerc becomes a world champion. The question will be, how did one of the brightest talents of his generation end up as the sport's greatest what-if?